One necessity of functioning in today's high-tech society is a smartphone. Aside from the hipster minimalist trend of switching to a flip phone and my grandmother, everybody has a smartphone. Due to its near ubiquitous demand, the smartphone industry has exploded with innovation and development, making it a dizzying proposition to keep up with the latest and loudest of the phones. So today we're going to bring you the 10 best smartphones of 2020. And before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed and have your thoughts ready to drop in the comments section. And now, number 10. Number 10, Google Pixel 5. At $700 with a 4080 milliamp battery, a nice camera, and a 6-inch screen, the Google Pixel 5 is pretty average amongst the best phones of this year, bringing it to the beginning of this list. While not impressive in any particular area, it's pretty good all around in terms of features and price. Number 9. iPhone SE. The iPhone SE is not nearly as flashy as the other phones on this list. However, this is definitely the smartphone for the non-techie folks out there who just need to stay somewhat current and don't really care about all the bells and whistles. Its battery life is good, not great, but plenty. The screen uses old technology. The camera is okay, but not amazing. Overall, it's just fine. But what makes this phone so appealing is that you can get one for like $400. Way cheaper than any of the new and sparkly smartphones on the market today. Number 8. The OnePlus 8. The 8 series by OnePlus is probably the best all-around non-Apple, non-Samsung smartphone money can buy. At 6.78 inches, a 120Hz refresh rate, a 1440 by 3168 resolution, the display on the OnePlus 8 is about as good as it gets. Released in April of 2020, this smartphone is competitive with the others in its league when it comes to 5G, battery life, internal storage, and all that. At $800, this model isn't going to outprice the Apple and Samsung competitors, but what is going to tip the scales for OnePlus buyers is this stunning display and the fact that Robert Downey Jr. drives fast with this phone in hand. Number 7. iPhone 12. Apple just keeps on rolling out new iPhones, and the latest addition is the iPhone 12. This is the upgraded version of the same iPhone that longtime Apple users know and love. 5G will allow you to keep up with the rest of the world when it comes to connectivity. The dual-lens rear-facing camera enables this phone to take some seriously impressive photos. And the A14 Bionic processor paired with 128 gigabytes of internal storage are going to let you do just about anything you could ever want to do with a smartphone. Coming in at around $800, this phone is pretty standard in price among phones of this caliber. Albeit ridiculous that they can charge that much money for a telephone. iPhone 12 variations. There are a bunch of variations of the iPhone 12 theme, but before we get to see them, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button real quick, and then we'll get into it. Number 6. 12 Pro. Apple offers versions of the iPhone 12 for users who want more, less, or a lot more. The iPhone 12 Pro offers a third rear-facing camera lens, if you can believe it, as well as longer battery life and an extended internal storage option of up to 512 gigabytes. The Pro costs about $1,000, just a couple hundred more than the standard 12. Number 5. 12 Mini. Now, for those of you who would like to take it down a notch, Apple, unlike most smartphone manufacturers, has officially acknowledged your existence with the iPhone 12 Mini. The smaller, cheaper, and lighter version of the iPhone 12 will give you all the 5G, upgraded camera, and all the other stuff you need to keep up without breaking the bank or bursting the seams of your pockets. The 5.4-inch screen is over a half-inch smaller than the standard model, but it's still plenty big. The battery life of the iPhone 12 Mini is a bit shorter, and the $700 price tag is a little smaller, making this a good choice for someone who wants to upgrade but doesn't need to go crazy.
This is going to be the one to get. It's just such a nice, easy recommendation. I think I'm going to default to telling people about iPhone 12 because of the better battery life. But yeah, for $729, which this phone costs, it's not $699. They're a little tricky with carrier pricing on Apple.com, but for $729, I'm just glad that there is a compact flagship phone option.
Number 4. 12 Pro Max. Did somebody say go crazy? Well, okay, you asked for it. Here's the iPhone 12 Pro Max. which is competing for the swankiest smartphone and the longest name. Upgrading to the Pro Max will give you everything the 12 Pro offers, plus a larger display of 6.7 inches, an extra bump in battery life, nearly an extra ounce and a half in weight, and another $100 in price. This is the iPhone for the guy who likes to have nice things.
And there's no doubt that Apple would put its best technology in its Pro Max model. I just think this year it's a bit complicated figuring out which to buy, because the Pro Max really is the actual Pro by the looks of it as it stands right now. And so people are gonna have to decide between the ultimate feature set, which comes in a larger, more expensive package, or a slightly toned down version of that feature set. Now, it's not massive, but it's tough because once I'm thinking Pro, I'm thinking I want all the features, I want the top end spec at all costs.
Number 3, Galaxy S20. Released in March of 2020, the Samsung Galaxy S20 has a 6.2-inch screen with a resolution of 3200 by 1440, making it an ideal phone for video watching. Also included are 5G, 128 gigabytes of internal storage, and a micro SD card slot in case you want to crank up that storage all the way up to the terabyte. A 4000 milliamp battery, or 4500 for the Plus, will give you the long battery life you desire, allowing for more than a day of use without a charge. Lastly, the 120Hz maxed out refresh rate is going to give you the smoothest gaming, streaming, and browsing experience money can buy. This phone costs around $1,000 and is generally considered to be about the best bang for your buck on today's smartphone market.
Samsung decided to call this the Galaxy S20 instead of the Galaxy S11 because it has those three things: the new camera system, support for 5G, and the high refresh rate screen.
Number 2, S20 Plus. Now, if you are a bigger is better kind of person, and really, who isn't? Then the S20 Plus is going to one-up the Galaxy S20 with everything the smaller phone has to offer, with just a few extra little, or should I say, bigger features. First and most obvious is a half-inch bump in screen size to 6.7 inches, basically making this thing a small television. The S20 Plus comes with internal storage options of 128 gigabytes, just like the S20, or up to 512 in case you have a desire to store 142,000 photos or 400 feature-length films in your pocket. The slightly larger battery capacity of 4500 milliamp will support all these bigger and badder features without you even noticing. And the $1,200 price tag isn't really all that noticeable either.
For us, the Galaxy S20 Plus makes the most sense out of the S20 trio.
Number 1, S20 Ultra. You guessed it, the S20 Ultra includes everything seen in the other S20 models, takes it up a notch. The 6.9-inch screen blurs the lines between phone and tablet. The camera includes the same lenses as the S20 Plus with an even better main camera. And this phone definitely wins the contest for highest price at something like $1,400, which is plain ridiculous. It is also worth mentioning that Samsung has a fan edition of the S20 phone for those of you who also want a new phone but would also like to continue to pay the rent.
I mean, this is an excellent phone, best in class in several ways, the display being the most incredible one, and with the battery falling right in step behind it.
Well, that's all for today, but you can bet that the phones on today's list will quickly be replaced by a new generation of smartphones next year. So be sure to be subscribed to this channel so you can catch that video when it's ready for you. And lastly, leave a comment and let me know which of these phones you're going to buy or perhaps already have. And I'll catch you right back here next time for another great video.